Welcome to the CMO Spotlight, and I'm so excited today to have Kaylin Durham.
There's a sentiment out there that you should be really intentional about the decisions you make in your career and the opportunities you take. And I will be honest, I didn't do that as much. I just said, what is the next opportunity in front of me where I feel like I could learn? And I do think you have to be thoughtful and strategic about how that maybe ladders up to your greater goals. But I think a lot of times people shy away from new opportunities or taking on a new role or a new challenge because they're not quite sure how it fits into the grand scheme or the picture they've painted for their career. But in my experience, very little new exposure or new experience is going to not behoove you long term because it makes you more well-rounded. And so for me in my career, I've always just been the one to raise my hands and say, let me give it a shot. I think I can do that, and not be afraid to ask for help, but be more aggressive and say, like, why don't you take a chance on me, see if I can pull it off, and teach yourself. And I think that really sets you up for success in the long run. Curiosity is a really good one. I think that is a totally underrated and undervalued characteristic. It's actually one thing I look for in my recruiting, when I'm hiring somebody, when I look for emerging leaders in my organization. I say, like, what are you curious about learning next? Or what have you been learning next? Or why are you interested in this role? What itch have you not scratched that you think this is an opportunity to do? And so, maybe curiosity is a good one, because I think that people value people who want to learn and put initiative behind that. Critically important to me that we have honest, hard dialogue when we need to, transparent dialogue. I think that we live in a world that wants to be very cognizant of people's feelings and emotions. And of course, we want to be respectful at all times, but I think sometimes what we've diluted is healthy, rigorous debate. And so if my team are not ever disagreeing or never coming to the table with like challenges or, oh, what if we did it this way? Let's think about it differently. Then I feel like we're not growing. We're just stagnant and we're just trying to make everybody feel better. And so that is a value that I like to be challenged by my team. I encourage them to come in my office and say, I don't think that we're doing this the right way. I don't think that this is strategically the way we should be going. And let's have a dialogue about it. And so that is, to me, obviously in close proximity to a sense of respect, really, really important. We opened a new location for BrandSmart in Augusta, Georgia. So I'm going to go away from errands for a second. And we had not refreshed the brand in 25 years. We're, again, historically a South Florida-based brand. Brand awareness for BrandSmart in South Florida is 90% plus the marketer's dream, right? But in Atlanta, where the competition is higher and we have less of a store footprint, it was a lot lower. And in Augusta, it was 0. And so we basically had to take this brand that most of historically our marketing was focused around nostalgia. You know us, you love us, just come visit us again, and say, how do we introduce this to Augustans who really know nothing about us? And so we worked with an external creative agency. We worked with media agencies. And I just thought that campaign came to life really well and taught me the importance of being flexible and how you reintroduce your brand, and you don't rest on laurels or like everybody knows us, everybody loves us, and really like have to think like, what is our right to win in this market? And how do we talk about that to a brand new consumer who doesn't have to give us a chance and has no nostalgic feelings for the brand or whatever? So that was a hugely successful campaign launch. The day of the grand opening, we had a line wrapped around the building. It was like, I think, a 3-hour wait to get into the store. Really, really successful grand opening. And I think it was because we thought differently about how do we enter this marketplace more thoughtfully. There's a quote I have actually hanging in my house and in my office. I love it so much. And it says, now that you don't have to be perfect, you can be good. It's a John Steinbeck quote from East of Eden. And I just love that quote because, one, I'm an oldest child, a perfectionist by nature. But I also think, so it applies to my personal life, but it definitely also applies professionally. I think we just let perfect be the enemy of great or good. And again, that goes to that curiosity thing. Be brave enough and not perfectionistic enough to say like, okay, I'm not going to get it 100% right, but I'm so curious that I have to give it a go and I have to try it. And I'm not going to let perfect be the enemy of great. And so I love that quote. I think about it a lot. If I had tattoos, I would get it tattooed. I think it's really important. I mentioned Nordstrom, and I mean, I do just think they do a fantastic job of seeing and engaging their customers on a routine basis. But I travel a lot for my job. And of course, this is a gimme, but I think Delta, especially being in Atlanta, does an amazing job. And what's been so cool is I've traveled almost every week for 2 years now, and before that, probably still monthly. And so I've watched Delta evolve their customer experience over time. And as much as I fly, I still feel like I'm constantly discovering new features, new functionality. And it's always answering that, like, oh, I wish they would do this. Oh, they did, both in flight experience and, through my phone or booking process. And so I think that is just incredibly impressive what they've been able to accomplish.